Kennedy Afolayan says, this is heartbreaking. Losing your team like that is a trauma nobody prepares you for. Strength to AJ. Mary Johnson says, famous or not, Nigerian roads are death traps. We talk, then forget, then another tragedy happens. Samuel Okonkwo says, people should wait for investigation before blaming anyone. Accidents can be complex. Zainab Bello says, compliment of the season, BKO and Ibrahim. Why does it take a celebrity accident before we remember road safety exists? Ibrahim Sadiq says this will affect him mentally more than physically. Boxing is 50% mind. And Sadia Hassan says, media souls rest in peace. This is beyond sports. This is human pain. All right, BKO, we are fast approaching the end of time for this program today. Let me bring in this, current issue that is, going on, global affairs, global matter. Reports are emerging that
Yes.
U.S. President Donald Trump claims Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife were apprehended by U.S. forces following military action and indictment on criminal charges, a development that has sent shockwaves, regionally and globally. What do you think this signify in terms of U.S. Latin American relations and international norms, Mikhail?
One of the most interesting things I heard today was Trump saying that America will play a big role in Venezuela's oil business. And
Absolutely.
I'm like, what is
Absolutely.
going on? What is going on? We are already able, this thing happened just some hours ago. You're already talking about getting involved in the oil business. It's not,
Sorry to butt in,
it's not
BKO.
right.
Sorry to butt in. Nicolas Maduro
Yes.
has said that, okay, you say you want to fight crime, you want to fight drug pushers. Okay, I'm all in. And if it is the oil that you are interested in, let's come and have a negotiation. They spoke for 10 minutes and they had good conversations. Come and invest like Shell and all of that. And the world has been saying that it is the oil that the US is actually interested in.
No, by saying that is going to, that America is going to get involved in Venezuela's oil business, it shows clearly that it's beyond just picking a
Drug
president
trafficking.
up on the claim that he was indicted for promoting
Cocaine deal. Yeah.
drug pushing and arms deal, involved in an arms deal. Remember that in December 1989, the US president then invaded Panama and they took away Manuel Noriega. He was accused of also being involved in the drug business in America, promoting the drug business in America. And now what Trump is saying is they will no longer, US is losing hundreds of thousands to drugs. We are not going to allow it anymore. And he was saying that he watched the capture live, like I was watching a TV show. I believe that there was a camera on the helmet of one of the special forces operatives who went to Venezuela to effect the capture of the president. And they were able to watch, the president was able to watch that capture live, just the same way that Hillary Clinton and Obama watched the killing of Osama bin Laden live at the time when it was carried out. But yes, there are issues about the elections held in Venezuela, but an opposition had waited for this attack to happen for years. A country battered by years of political and economic crisis.
Instability. Yeah.
It still does not make sense for one big country to invade another country just because it has the military muscle to make that happen. The fear now is that big countries of the world like China, like India, once they have a disagreement with another country, may feel that, look, nothing should stop us from invading that country. Because America has done it different times before our eyes. America took away the president of Panama. He went to hide inside the Vatican, but they still got hold of him and brought him to America to face trial. They locked him away for years. Now it's the same treatment that they want to give Maduro. Maduro and Trump had their issues from Trump's first term in office. And it seemed that Trump was bent on regime change. And this is what he is trying to effect. But in Venezuela at this time, yes, Trump has said that they are going to work with the opposition leader in that country. But as things stand, Maduro's people are still in charge, and people are even afraid to celebrate on the street. Opposition elements are afraid to celebrate on the street because they could be gunned down and they could be arrested. Trump appears to be biting more than he can chew without knowing it. He has already said that if Iran shoots protesters, that the US will intervene. So this feeling that we have that the US is happy to play the role of the policeman of the world, we are seeing it happening before our eyes. The support, the encouragement that Trump has had is that other Latin American countries have similarly accused Maduro of being a promoter of drugs. And Trump just felt, look, this is the time to take action. He claimed that he had warned him to surrender. He warned him about a week ago to surrender, but that Maduro refused to surrender. So now he's been indicted before now in New York for drugs and on weapons charges. Trump and the US government are about to put the president of another nation on trial in their own country. He had described Maduro's election as a disgrace back then. And the opposition clearly weaponized the fact that the regime is dictatorial and the regime was not prepared to give up power even after he lost an election. But right. This is what is it. The opposition knew that an attack would come, but they didn't know when exactly that attack will come. They couldn't have, they clearly saw this as an opportunity to effect the change that they wanted. But America will not simply effect a change in the affairs of your country. They will not simply take your president that you don't want away. They will make sure that their companies benefit from the resources of your country. Look at the rebuilding of Iraq after the war that they declared. Wrongful intelligence that Saddam was amassing weapons of mass destruction. After Iraq was destroyed, it's the Americans who have benefited from the reconstruction, with many of their companies getting contracts to help rebuild that country. So it is, many are outraged, many are shocked, but they are waiting to see how the world will react, especially the United Nations will react to what happened, because this is clearly an aberration. But to the Americans, it is not an aberration. Once they made up their minds to change the regime, they will do whatever it takes to make that change happen. And that is what Trump has done. They claimed that the weather
That's
was
right.
not good enough to effect that the attack last week, but that they felt that the weather was clear now, and then he decided to move in. To what extent will America exploit the resources of Venezuela, one of the most rich in oil countries of the world? To what extent are they
Yeah.
prepared to go? That is the next phase. That is what we'll know in the coming days. But a clear message has been sent that America will not hesitate to effect regime change where its interests are at variance with the interests of the government in power. How will America behave if China were to invade Taiwan at this time? How will they behave? I just hope that
Right.
the Third World War will not be triggered by this kind of decisions to
Madness. Yeah.
use military might just because you
Mm.
have it and effect a change in another country. It's clearly against the UN Charter, and we expect the UN to react strongly to this.
UN is controlled by the US. Controlled by
Yeah,
the US. They are
but
toothless bulldogs, so they make the decision.
what is criminal is criminal. Invading another country in the way America has done could
Yeah.
trigger greater destabilization of not just that country, but it could lead
For
to
the world and the region.
intractable problems. We can see what has happened in Libya. It is now divided into two countries. Two countries. So it is what it is, but we'll see how the world reacts.
Right. Right. Very quickly, BK. Ahmed Suleiman says, if true, this is a very dangerous precedent. Arresting a sitting president. The world is shifting. Grace Williams says, funny how power works. If it was a small country doing this, the world would be shouting. Victoria Onwoye says, so the US is now global police, and George, this won't end well. I agree with you, BK. Michael Thompson says, accountability is accountability. If Maduro committed crimes, power shouldn't protect him. All right, let me quickly chip in this very last question. We're actually out of time, but I just assume that this a special edition we're giving our audience because of what is unfolding, both locally and internationally. As you've said, Donald Trump is saying that we are going to have a presence in Venezuela only as it pertains to oil. And he's also saying that they are working on dealing with the vice president of Venezuela and see how that goes. And vice president of Venezuela is also saying that he is going to do everything that the US asks it to do. But these are the guys talking about Donald Trump and Netanyahu, for instance. Donald Trump, faced 34 counts charges on 34 counts charge on felony. Netanyahu, who is a close ally of Donald Trump, has killed. Now they are estimating over 70,000 innocent Palestinians, including more than 200 journalists. And then they are committing atrocities, killing people. I don't even know the word to use. Maybe you help me. Who is going to stop the US? Who is going to stop this madness that the world is, the US is drawing the entire world into? You've actually, thrown caution in the wind about third world war breaking out if care is not taken.
I want to see countries like India play a much bigger role. India just recently overtook Japan as the fourth biggest economy in the world. And it is even projected that if they continue to grow at that pace, they are going to overtake Germany. So I want to see China and India come together because they are both economic and military powers. They are both economic powers and military superpowers. So if they can come together, they will be able to whittle down the influence of the Americans because it's really unwholesome to go to another country and do the kind of thing that Trump has done. Trump has simply behaved just like George Bush Sr. behaved back in 1989. Now, they are looking at what Netanyahu is doing. Both Trump and Netanyahu are corrupt individuals. Netanyahu is begging now for the corruption case against him to be quashed. Well, I mean, if you believe you are innocent, why are you asking for amnesty? Because we've seen a former prime minister of Israel go to jail. He knows that when he finally loses power, he will be put on trial and he could go to jail. Now he's asking that they should quash those that they should give him a kind of amnesty or forgiveness for the crime of corruption that he has committed. The world appears to be a place where people talk about equality of all men, but in the real sense, there is no such thing. If a president can order American forces to go into another country, bomb their airports, bomb their ports, bomb their military facilities, and then go on to pick the president of that country and his wife and take them all the way to America to be put on trial based on American laws. Come on. This is not the sort of thing that should be happening in our world. So it means that even if a president is popular with his people, I'm not saying Maduro is popular with his people, although he has his own issues. The opposition even boycotted the 2018 elections because of transparency issues. But I'm saying that even if a president is popular, once Trump does not like him, Trump is a bully. Trump can go as far as sending troops to remove that government from power. That should not be the case at all. That's why the world is outraged. The world, it came as a shock to people that the president of the free world, as America is called, could go to another country, invade another country, capture the president alive, capture the wife of the president, and then take them to America so that they can face trial. It's a terrible day. It's a terrible day.
Absolutely. We'll see how this pans out. And it's really a very sad thing, as you said. Very, very sad. We just hope that, America is able to rein in their rabbit. I don't want to say anything afterwards other than that. But then that's our show for today's edition of Issues with Jide. Special thanks to you, Baba Jide Kola, in the studio, for those insightful analyses. As always, and we believe that 2026 is going to unfold, positively because, with the thing that, we just analyzed, you just analyzed now, we do not want the world to go in that direction, especially with someone who had barely spent a year and has caused much more chaos. What's going to happen in the next 3 years?
Thank you, Brian. Thank you to our viewers. We'll do this again next week, God willing. Thank you for your patronage. You are the reason we are still in business. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And thanks to our audience for keeping our company on every edition. You can see the program again anytime by subscribing to our YouTube channel, TVC News Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button to get the latest information. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at TVC News NG. I'm also at Ibrahim_Shita. On behalf of the rest of the team, I'm Ibrahim Shita. See you again next edition. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.